On July 8th, Archangel Michael reveals a hidden enemy in your circle. He's protected you so far, but if you keep ignoring him, disaster will follow. Watch this video now. The date July 8th is not just another moment in time. It's a divine checkpoint, marked in the spiritual realm as the day Archangel Michael parts the veil to expose what's been quietly destroying your peace. For months, maybe even years, you sensed something off. You've questioned the people closest to you, their energy, their actions, their silence. It all felt wrong, but you brushed it aside. That persistent feeling you called paranoia, that unexplainable tension in your stomach when they smiled, that was Michael's sword vibrating in warning. And now, he's not whispering anymore. He's shouting. Loud, urgent, unrelenting. Because behind your smile, your struggle, your repeated setbacks, there's been a hidden saboteur. Not just a random enemy from the outside. No. This one is within your inner circle. A pretender cloaked in love. A Judas with clean hands. They've been feeding off your vulnerability, thriving on your confusion, keeping you just discouraged enough to never rise. But Archangel Michael, the commander of divine truth, has had enough. He's drawing his flaming sword, not against you, but for you. And with it, he slices through illusion, lies, and spiritual fog. Michael isn't asking for your trust anymore. He's demanding your attention. Because this hidden enemy doesn't just pose an emotional threat. And now, this is deeper. Financial stagnation, sudden illnesses, opportunities that always fall through at the last moment. These aren't coincidences. They're consequences of spiritual sabotage. And on July 8th, if you ignore the signs again, it won't just be pain. It will be disaster. The protection that once surrounded you will hold back divine justice indefinitely. This is your final window to act, to awaken, to obey. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 3636. Michael's warning isn't meant to scare, it's meant to shake. He's tired of seeing you suffer silently. He's watched you pray for deliverance while dining with the one delaying it. And now, he's showing you who they are. In dreams, in gut feelings, in sudden revelations that expose motives, past patterns, and intentions you never wanted to believe. What you do with that vision will determine what heaven does next. He's pulling you out of deception, but he won't drag you. You must walk willingly. You were not meant to suffer here. Not endlessly. Not unknowingly. Archangel Michael's voice is thunder in your soul. You've heard it before, you just called it intuition. But this time, his hand is on your shoulder, his sword is before your face, and his command is clear. See them. Cut ties. Or face what I can no longer shield you from. Because this isn't just a moment. This is war. And your soul is the battlefield. Type I am protected to get the blessing 4141. The moment Michael speaks, the spiritual realm responds. You may not hear his voice with your ears, but your spirit does. That anxious flutter in your chest, the sudden heaviness when a certain person enters the room, the drain in your energy after just a short conversation with them, that is not a coincidence. That is the beginning of revelation. On July 8th, Michael will not whisper anymore. He will tear open the veil that's been hiding what you were not yet ready to face. But now you are. Ready or not, he's showing you the face of the one who's been wearing a mask too long. You've loved them, trusted them. You've opened your life to their energy, unaware that their heart held silent envy, masked resentment, and private celebration every time you fell. They never clapped with genuine joy when you rose. Their smiles were shadows, their words carefully measured to give just enough support to keep you close but never enough to let you fly. Archangel Michael doesn't want you to hate them. He wants you to see them. Because love without discernment is a doorway to destruction. This enemy isn't always loud or obviously cruel. No. The most dangerous ones are the ones who smile while holding the scissors behind their back. The ones who feed you poison praise. The ones who act helpless so you can stay distracted saving them, never realizing that while you were rescuing them, your own purpose was being delayed. You've been asking why things aren't moving, why your prayers seem blocked, why the blessing feels postponed. Michael heard you. He saw it. And now, he's confronting the source. Type I'm rising to get blessing 5678. Sometimes the enemy isn't the one who hates you. It's the one who pretends they love you most. Their loyalty is loud when others are watching, but silence when your name is attacked in secret rooms. They're the ones who ask for all your time and energy, but vanish when you're in need. The ones who say I'm proud of you with a side glance of hidden pain, hoping you fail so they can remain the strongest voice in the room. Michael is about to remove that voice. But first, he will make you hear it for what it truly is. On July 8th, the universe will shift. A mirror will be placed in front of every hidden enemy you've entertained. Not to shame them, but to release you. You've been bonded by obligation, guilt, loyalty to old versions of people who no longer serve your evolution. But Michael is the angel of warfare and clarity. He does not tolerate stagnation disguised as loyalty. He's not just removing them. He's promoting you. But you cannot rise if you're still tethered to dead weight. Type I'm delivered to get blessing 7878. Expect dreams to intensify. Conversations will suddenly feel off. Words will slip from their lips that reveal more than they meant. Their mask will crack, and you must not look away. Do not rush to justify what heaven is revealing. You not say, maybe I misunderstood. You didn't. The truth is loud when God speaks. Your job is to believe it. Because some enemies don't come to destroy you with swords, they come to comfort you while dulling your fire, keeping you small, afraid, unsure. Michael is coming for every chain. But first, he must confront every hidden link. Some of those links look like people you've called family, friends, lovers, mentors. That's what makes this war so hard. You weren't betrayed by strangers. You were wounded by those who once prayed with you, dined with you, knew your secrets. But hear this clearly. Heaven has issued a divine unmasking. No enemy can remain hidden when Michael walks into your circle. This isn't personal. It's prophetic. Type I am awakened to get the blessing 6262. What does betrayal look like when it's dressed in care? What does sabotage feel like when it comes through laughter, shared tears, or years of history? It's subtle. That's what makes it dangerous. The one Michael is revealing to you on July 8th is not obvious, at least not yet. This is the kind of enemy that studies you. They memorize your wounds, mirror your light, mimic your passions, and infiltrate your trust. Not to support you, but to delay you. Their presence in your life has been a spiritual assignment, not from heaven, but from the opposing force. Remember what Archangel Michael represents: protection, warfare, divine justice. He does not enter gently when there is danger near. He arrives with fire in his wings and truth in his sword. The fact that you felt uncomfortable lately isn't anxiety. It's discernment trying to get your attention. The gut feelings, the hesitations, the moment when they said something off, then laughed it away. That wasn't random. That was a divine alarm being sounded in your spirit. You've been given clues. Now comes confirmation. July 8th will not be ordinary. Conversations will be laced with divine signals. Your ears will catch what your heart once ignored. That friend who always plays victim will say something that suddenly sounds manipulative. That person who claims to pray for you will slip and reveal a deep-rooted jealousy. That family member who always loves you will finally reveal the control they had over your growth. You'll feel it. You'll know. Because Michael will not allow you to be blind any longer. Type I am alert to get the blessing 5959. Start observing. Take nothing at face value. If someone begins to drain your spirit the moment you talk to them, that is not love. If you feel smaller, quieter, or less like yourself around them, that is not connection, that's suppression. Michael is opening your spiritual eyes, not so you live in suspicion, but so you stop mistaking sabotage for support. This person, your hidden enemy, has not been passively harmful. Lo, they've been intentionally delaying your elevation. They've distracted your purpose by needing constant emotional rescuing. They've thrown shade disguised as jokes. They've doubted your vision in the name of being realistic. But Michael is realism from heaven's throne. And when heaven calls something warfare, you don't call it a misunderstanding. You armor up. And on July 8th, you cut the tie. Not in anger, but in obedience. Because some ties are not just emotional. They are spiritual agreements that must be broken aloud, by name, in prayer and in power. Type I am released to get the blessing 4848. You may be afraid of what happens next. If I walk away, who will I have? You may ask. But hear this. What you lose in false comfort, you gain in divine clarity. Michael never removes without replacing. And he never reveals without rewarding. Once this hidden enemy is out of your circle, you will feel the spiritual air clear. Peace will return. Delays will lift. Miracles that have been hovering will finally land. But you must create space for it. There can be no new harvest in a field full of weeds. This is not about revenge. This is about release. Michael doesn't teach vengeance, he teaches victory. The truth will sting, but only for a moment. What it produces in you will echo for generations. Because when you rise clean of betrayal, you become a weapon in heaven's hands. Archangel, undelayed. And that, beloved, is what the enemy feared most. Not your downfall, but your awakening. That's why they stayed close. Because deep down, they knew who you truly are. This time you knew it too. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for regular prophetic guidance, deep spiritual insight, and powerful words that keep you aligned with heaven's rhythm. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 7171. Exposure is never comfortable, but it is always necessary for deliverance. On July 8th, the light won't just shine around you, it will shine through you. That's the danger for those who've pretended to love you while working against you. Archangel Michael has not only drawn his sword against the spiritual forces influencing your hidden enemy, but he has also ignited your discernment so powerfully that deception can no longer exist in your space without convulsion. The darkness around them will tremble in your presence, not because you've changed it, but because you finally awakened. This is when the mask will begin to slip. The one who once praised your dreams will now avoid your victories. They'll grow irritated by your growth. Your compliments will begin to sound hollow. The closer you step into your calling, the more uncomfortable they'll become. Why? Because your elevation exposes their hidden intentions. Archangel Michael is showing you. It was never love. It was leverage. As long as you were dependent, broken, or in a cycle, they felt safe. But the moment you start rising, their control begins to die. Watch how their behavior shifts. They may subtly become distant, or strangely critical. They might play confused when you confront them, gaslight you, rewrite history, blame you for their discomfort. But don't fall into that web. That confusion is not yours, it's a reaction to their exposure. Michael is not revealing them so you'll argue. He's revealing them so you can exit. This is not your season to explain, convince, or try to prove your truth. This is your moment to obey the call of separation. Type I am breaking free to get the blessing 5252. Your healing has always been a threat to their illusion. Understand this. Some people only stayed because you stayed broken. You being whole means they can no longer play the rescuer, the wise one, the emotionally superior guide. Your strength unnerves them. Your clarity makes them stumble. Because in the bright light of your transformation, their shadows no longer blend in. This is why July 8th is sacred. It's the divine turning point where you become the mirror that reveals the spiritual truth behind their presence. And it may hurt. You may grieve. Not just for the person, but for the illusion you believe. But grief is not the end. It's the holy cleansing before rebirth. Michael's sword does not only cut, it separates. It divides what was sent by heaven from what was allowed by your loneliness. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The moment you release this hidden enemy, heaven will respond with acceleration. There is weight in fake connections, and you've carried it too long. Type I am aligned to get the blessing 8585. Don't be surprised if they sense the shift before you even say a word. Spirits recognize spiritual eviction. Their energy will change. They'll reach out more, trying to re-anchor their place in your life. Don't be fooled. This is not reconciliation. This is retaliation in disguise. Stay firm. Remember what Michael showed you. You're not imagining things. You're finally waking up. And when you awaken, every lie must fall. You may have tolerated it before, but not anymore. Not with Michael leading your path and the fire of truth blazing behind your steps. As you move forward, the universe will reward you in whispers first. Peace returning, unexplained joy, deep rest, and then, in waves, favor, resources, divine timing aligning like never before. You'll notice how light your soul feels without their voice clouding your thoughts. That wasn't love, it was a leash. And you've just broken it. Heaven rejoices when the chosen one walks away from counterfeits. And that's exactly what you've done. Not by hatred, but by holy courage. Type I am rising above to get the blessing 6969. Walking away may feel like betrayal at first, but in truth, it is obedience. Obedience to the voice of Archangel Michael, who has called you out of counterfeit connections and into covenant destiny. July 8th isn't about drama. It's about deliverance. You're not being asked to hate the hidden enemy. You're being instructed to release what no longer aligns with your divine timeline. Because sometimes, God doesn't remove people to hurt you. He removes them to heal you. and healing requires subtraction before multiplication. Understand that this level of spiritual obedience will come with resistance. The person Michael revealed may act as if you are the problem. They'll twist the narrative, playing the victim, attempting to turn others against you. Don't engage. The moment you respond in the flesh, you interrupt what heaven is doing in the spirit. Michael's battle plan does not include petty arguments. It includes positioning, protection, and promotion. Your silence will be louder than any defense. Let them talk. Heaven saw it all, and heaven will vindicate. This is where your real strength is tested, because separating from someone who hurt you openly is easy, but separating from someone who secretly poisoned your purpose, that takes divine courage, especially when their manipulation came wrapped in kindness. But kindness without purity is camouflage, and Archangel Michael is stripping away every illusion that kept you trapped in cycles of false peace. That's not love. That's a leash. And Michael is cutting it once and for all. Type I am walking free to get the blessing 7373. You may feel isolated at first. That's natural. When you break from a soul tether that's been manipulating your spiritual flow, you go through detox. Loneliness is not punishment. It's preparation. Don't rush to fill the space they once occupied. Heaven doesn't operate in panic. Michael is orchestrating divine replacements. People who honor you. Circles that fuel your vision instead of draining it. Connections that don't compete, compare, or confuse, but confirm what God placed in you. And be warned, your obedience will provoke attention. Hell never stays quiet when a chosen one rises. You'll be tested. The hidden enemy may return with new tactics, guilt, apology, nostalgia. Stay rooted in what was revealed, not what's being replayed. The enemy loves to recycle old roles with new scripts. But this time, your eyes are open. You've crossed the threshold of spiritual maturity. And when Michael walks you through fire, you don't return to ash. You rise from it. Type I am untouchable to get the blessing 4646. Do not downplay what just happened. July 8th wasn't a coincidence. It was a spiritual reset. The moment your name was pulled from warfare and placed into restoration. But for restoration to flow, you had to make room. And removing the hidden enemy was the first act of faith that unlocked heaven's next move. Michael didn't just expose them, he empowered you. With wisdom, with discernment, with authority. Your spiritual armor is heavier now, not because you're burdened, but because you're battle-tested and victory-bound. So when you feel grief surface, don't push it down. Let it pass through you. Cry if you must. Mourn the version of you who tolerated manipulation. But do not return. Do not second-guess the vision. Do not open the door once heaven has shut it. You were not led here to fall. You were led here to fly. And now, with your wings untethered and your soul unbound, the real acceleration begins. July 8th was your unmasking, and now, heaven celebrates your escape. Type I am ascending to get the blessing 3030. One's obedience is complete. The atmosphere around you changes. It's subtle at first, almost too gentle to notice. But then it builds. After the removal of the hidden enemy, the shift begins. It starts in your mind, clarity where there was once fog. Thoughts sharpen. Peace becomes louder than fear. You don't feel as heavy in rooms where their voice used to echo. That lingering anxiety that clung to your spirit like smoke begins to vanish. Because where deception ends, divine order begins. Archangel Michael didn't just warn you, he freed you. And now, the real alignment unfolds. You'll begin to recognize how much of your energy was being drained by their presence. Simple tasks no longer feel overwhelming. Sleep comes easier. Doors that were shut begin to creak open. Delays lift. What once felt cursed begins to bloom again. This is not magic. It's the natural consequence of spiritual obedience. That hidden enemy was a spiritual blockage. And now that Michael has cleared the path, blessings that were hovering can finally descend. Don't question this flow. Receive it. You've paid the price. You made the cut. Now you must walk in the release. Still, don't be surprised if remnants of the old try to reattach. Just because you separated doesn't mean their influence won't try to linger. Memories may play tricks. Emotions may rise at night. Doubts will whisper, "Did I do the right thing?" That's when you return to what was revealed. Truth does not decay over time. What Michael showed you on July 8th remains divine instruction, no matter how soft your heart feels in the aftermath. Remember, compassion must never become a bridge back to bondage. Type I am sealed to get the blessing 6868. You are now in a phase of divine restoration. It doesn't always look like instant miracles. Sometimes it looks like stillness, safety, and sacred distance. The absence of confusion is also a blessing. The absence of drama is also a gift. Many people mistake peace for loneliness simply because they've been addicted to chaos. Don't fall into that trap. You're not alone, you're aligned. And in this alignment, heaven has room to bring what's truly meant for you. Unshakable love, supportive tribe, real friendship, and divine opportunities. Your discernment is sharper now. You see people differently. What once passed as just a joke now reveals toxicity. What once seemed like normal jealousy now rings with spiritual sabotage. Don't dull your insight to make others comfortable. You've earned this clarity. You were blind once, yes, but now, your spiritual eyes are wide open. This awakening is irreversible. You're no longer the version of yourself who tolerated masked manipulation. Advarian died the moment you obeyed. Type I am anointed to get the blessing 4147. This next season is not just about healing. It's about honoring what was revealed. That means establishing new boundaries. That means moving in silence when needed. That means no longer explaining your spiritual decisions to those who never honored your battles. The hidden enemy might never apologize. They might never admit their role. That's not your concern. Michael didn't ask you to fix them. He asked you to free yourself. And now that you have, your only task is to rise. You will find that people aligned with your destiny will start appearing without force. Conversations that feed your soul. Collaborations that feel effortless. These are signs of divine replacement. Heaven never leaves a gap unfilled when obedience is present. But these new connections can't be received if you keep turning back to what God asked you to release. Let the old burn. Let the unmasking stay permanent. Your circle may be smaller, but it is sacred, pure, purposeful, protected. Type I am surrounded by truth to get the blessing 9292. Now that the unmasking has happened, now that the spiritual tie has been cut, you've stepped into something sacred, the silence that heals. This is where most people panic. They mistake the stillness after obedience for punishment. But you know better now. Archangel Michael didn't just remove a person. He removed noise, distraction, and delay. What remains is silence, but not empty silence. Holy silence. The kind that clears the fog and reveals the sky again. It's in this quiet that heaven does its most powerful work. This is where your heart begins to catch up to your spirit. Because even when you obey immediately, emotions sometimes take time to process the rupture. But do not fear the ache. It's not weakness. It's detox. It's your soul expelling the residue of manipulation, dependence, and unseen battles you didn't even realize you were fighting daily. You are not going backwards. You're just adjusting to how light your soul feels without the burden of deception pressing against your progress. And for the first time in a long time, your body, your spirit, and your future are in agreement. In this silence, revelations will come. You'll start seeing past situations more clearly. Conversations you once overlooked will echo with deeper meaning now. You'll remember the passive-aggressive tones, the guilt-laced expectations, the subtle control, not to reopen wounds, but to close them with finality. The hidden enemy didn't just wound you, they trained you to accept less. And now Michael is retraining you to expect more. Don't rush this process. Let heaven rewire the places that were slowly dulled by spiritual sabotage. Type I am restored to get the blessing 7177. In this stillness, you'll start to dream again. Not the kind of dreams polluted by anxiety, but divine downloads, heavenly blueprints, clear visions of what's next. The very dreams that couldn't flow before because your energy was entangled with the wrong person. You see it now. Their presence wasn't just toxic. It was blocking divine communication. You were so busy managing their emotions, protecting their ego, and surviving their spiritual interference, you couldn't hear your own calling clearly. But now, the line is open. The frequency is clear, and heaven is speaking loud. You'll hear God again in the quiet moments. You'll feel Archangel Michael's presence not just when you cry out, but when you simply sit and breathe. This is what freedom tastes like. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, "You're safe now," and that security becomes your soil. In it, healing grows, strength returns, creativity bursts through the cracks, joy visits you uninvited, peace walks beside you in moments where chaos used to reign. Because when truth enters, falsehoods can no longer linger. Type I am healed to get the blessing 8383. You'll notice something else too. Your inner voice will get louder. Not the self-doubt, not the criticism, but your true self. The version of you that existed before the manipulation. The part that knew how to trust, believe, dream, and act boldly without fear of being cut down by someone close. That version was never gone, just buried under the weight of someone else's insecurity. Now, as you sit in this holy silence, they rise, and with them comes authority. Not forced, not loud, but real, quiet power, kingdom power, heaven-backed identity. This is what Michael had been fighting for. Not just your safety, but your restoration. Not just your freedom, but your remembrance of who you were before the attack, who you are now, and who you're becoming next. This is the divine rebirth that follows every divine removal. But only for those who don't run back. Only for those who stay long enough in the silence to let heaven fill the gap. Stay here. Don't rush the next step. Let this healing take its full course. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for regular prophetic guidance, deep spiritual insight, and powerful words that keep you aligned with heaven's rhythm. Type I am becoming whole to get the blessing 6269. As the silence stretches out before you, something beautiful starts to rise. Your spiritual memory. Not memory in the natural sense, but the deep knowing of who you truly are beneath the damage, beneath the betrayal, beneath the manipulation. Archangel Michael didn't just cut away a hidden enemy. He cut away the fog that had numbed your access to this memory. The moment you chose obedience, your spiritual DNA started to resurface. And now, you're beginning to remember your strength, your discernment, your authority, your light. This is where the real battle begins to make sense. That hidden enemy wasn't sent just to break your heart. They were sent to distract you from yourself. They were a decoy. As long as they were near, you kept doubting your instincts. You second-guessed your calling. You minimized your voice to make room for their insecurity. You questioned your worth because they never fully celebrated it. But now you see. Now you remember. Michael's fire didn't just burn through the lies. It reignited your identity. And that identity is powerful. Not perfect. Not boastful. But unshakable. Because now it's no longer built on their approval. It's rooted in divine remembrance. This is why you had to go through the unmasking. Not to punish you, but to wake you up. Because once a chosen one remembers who they are, the enemy loses all access. Not just the enemy in people, but the enemy in cycles, habits, thoughts, and fears. And make no mistake, what you're stepping into now isn't just a season. It's a return to divine design. Type I am remembering to get the blessing 4444. There will be moments where emotions still rise. You may feel the sting of memory, the grief of lost years, the ache of why didn't I see it sooner. But grace lives here too. You didn't miss it. You were being protected until the appointed time. And July 8th was that time. That window. That holy interruption. You were late, you were preserved. And now, every moment that felt wasted will be redeemed. Your memory is not just for reflection, it's for redirection. You are not who you were when they entered. You are who you were before they dimmed you. You'll begin to reclaim things you gave up to keep the peace. Dreams you laid down to avoid their jealousy. Opportunities you skipped to avoid making them feel small. Passions you suppressed so you wouldn't outshine them. Michael is handing those back to you now. He's whispering, pick it up again. It's safe now. Because without their gaze, without their energy, without their spiritual interference, you are free to pursue purpose without apology. You are finally free to shine without sabotage. Type I am redeemed to get the blessing 9898. There's a glow returning to your spirit. It may not be visible to everyone yet, but in the unseen realm, it's undeniable. Heaven sees it. Hell fears it. The people divinely assigned to your next level feel it. You are now magnetic to alignment. What once rejected you will now pursue you. What once delayed will now accelerate. Not because anything changed out there, but because everything changed in here. And that change started the moment you said yes to the severing. This power, this glow, is sacred. Yard it. Don't explain it. Don't apologize for it. The ones who are meant for you will recognize it without resistance. They'll celebrate you without condition. They'll support you without secret resentment. Because heaven never leaves a chosen one uncovered. As you remember your power, heaven remembers its promises. And now, the fulfillment begins. One word, one door, one divine appointment at a time. And none of it would have happened if you hadn't obeyed the call to walk away. Type I am glowing again to get the blessing 3535. When Archangel Michael cut away the hidden enemy, he also cut away the invisible strings that came attached to every blessing they influenced. You didn't even realize it, but the blessings you received while they were in your circle came with invisible weight. There was always a price, a sideways comment, a passive-aggressive reminder, a moment where you had to downplay your success just to keep the peace. That wasn't blessing. That was bondage disguised in favor. Now, the favor coming to you will arrive pure, direct, and uncomplicated. You're entering a season of clean blessings, gifts with no manipulation, no guilt, no conditions. Every door that opens now will be a divine door, not one forced by performance or emotional gymnastics. This is the fruit of your obedience. Because when you remove false alignment, heaven multiplies what's left. Don't be surprised if what took you 5 years to build with the wrong people begins to flourish in 5 months without them. It's not magic. It's momentum that was always meant for you, finally free of spiritual interference. And the best part, you no longer have to prove yourself. The striving has ceased. When the hidden enemy was present, you were constantly auditioning for value, always explaining, justifying, managing their ego, curating your growth to keep them comfortable. But now, your value speaks for itself. God has vindicated you in the spirit realm, and the evidence is about to manifest. Not through loud declarations, but through undeniable results. They will see it. You won't have to say a word. Type I am favored to get the blessing 7474. Don't be surprised if the hidden enemy watches from afar. They may not reach out again, but they'll observe. Let them. Your life will now preach what your mouth never had to defend. That's what happens when heaven blesses in full view. Not to be petty, but to prove that obedience brings overflow. Michael's sword wasn't just for cutting, it was for clearing. And now that the ground is clear, the harvest can rise. Watch how fast things start happening. Unexplained yeses, quick turnarounds, sudden breakthroughs. This is what unblocked purpose looks like. And still, stay humble. Because this acceleration isn't a reward for ego, it's a result of surrender. Keep your eyes on the assignment. Keep your heart clean. Don't try to show them. You already did. By leaving, by healing, by writing. That is enough. Stay focused. Because this next level requires more silence, more strategy, and more protection. The favor coming is heavy, and it must rest on shoulders that no longer shake for false connections. You are those shoulders now. Steady. Ready. Proven. Type I am prepared to get the blessing 5151. You'll notice that your prayers sound different now. No longer desperate or panicked. There's authority in your voice. Confidence in your tone. Because now you trust that what's meant for you won't be sabotaged by someone secretly working against you. You trust that heaven has your back, and Michael is on assignment. And with that trust comes peace. And with peace comes presence. You're able to be present again. In the moment. In the process. Without fear that someone in your circle is plotting against your joy. That freedom, emotional, spiritual, and mental, is priceless. It creates room for divine creativity, for higher thinking, for bold moves. This is the territory of the unchained. And you, beloved, are no longer chained. You are not bound to obligation, not stuck in cycles, not confused about who you are. You remember now. You've risen now, and you're walking fully into what was delayed for too long. This is your birthright. You're not lucky, you're aligned. Type I am walking in fullness to get the blessing 8181. The moment Archangel Michael removed the hidden enemy from your circle, he didn't just eliminate a person. He elevated your standard. What you tolerate, what you accept, what you give energy to, has all shifted. You're no longer willing to pour into one-sided dynamics. No longer available for spiritual leeches disguised as friends. You've leveled up not just emotionally, but energetically. And as your energy rises, so does the quality of who and what you attract. Because elevation requires environmental evolution. And now, the people coming into your life won't compete with you. They'll complement you. They won't question your calling. They'll confirm it. You'll begin to meet those who don't need to be impressed. They'll recognize your spirit before you even speak. They'll see the battles you survived without needing the full story. Why? Because they fought the same ones. This is what alignment looks like. You're not entering a social circle. You're entering a spiritual community. A tribe that doesn't drain, but builds. And this tribe will challenge you, but not in the way the hidden enemy did. They won't criticize you out of insecurity. They'll stretch you in love. They won't mock your sensitivity. They'll honor your discernment. They'll encourage what the hidden enemy tried to suppress. Your voice, your creativity, your boldness. And you won't have to shrink to fit in. You'll expand. Naturally. Joyfully. Because now you're surrounded by mirrors, not masks. People who reflect your light, not compete with it. Type I am ready for my tribe to get the blessing 9090. It may feel strange at first. To be loved without strings. To be supported without suspicion. To be seen without being used. Don't sabotage it. Don't let the trauma of your past circle make you reject the purity of your next one. That's what Michael was preparing you for in the silence. Healing your trust. Restoring your lens. Making sure your next yes would come from wisdom, not wounds. You are now equipped to recognize divine connections without second-guessing yourself. You'll notice it in conversations. These new people won't drain you. They'll fill you. They'll pour wisdom into your dry places. They'll pray with you, speak life into you, and correct you with grace. And it won't feel like control. It'll feel like home. Because spiritual alignment doesn't force, it flows. You won't need to perform or pretend. They'll see you clearly and love you anyway. Not for what you do, but for who you are. And after surviving a hidden enemy, that kind of love will feel like a miracle. Type I am safe with real love to get the blessing 6565. This is the redemption Michael was always leading you to. Not just the removal of betrayal, but the restoration of belonging. You weren't meant to navigate this purpose alone. That's why the enemy infiltrated your circle so early, to isolate you, distort you, keep you dependent on dysfunction. But now, the lie is broken. The mask is gone, and the light has returned. You're stepping into a season where you are no longer the strongest one in the room. And that's a blessing, because for too long, you carried everyone, encouraged everyone, supported everyone, even those sent to sabotage you. But now, you get to be carried. You get to rest in circles that lift without asking, that give without taking, that stay without conditions. This is heaven's gift to the healed version of you. A triumph for your strength, a fortress for your dreams, a mirror for your light. And none of it would have found you if you didn't first obey the call to let go. If this message is piercing your spirit and helping you step into divine truth, consider giving a super chat or super thanks today. Your support of $20 helps us continue creating powerful, prophetic messages like this one. We are grateful for every seed you sow. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. You'll receive regular prophetic guidance, exclusive content, and spiritual tools to keep you aligned with your divine path. Type I am aligned with my people to get the blessing 4747. Everything begins to move faster once the weight of sabotage is removed. You'll feel it first as a subtle momentum. A conversation leads to a connection. A connection opens a door, and that door leads straight into a dream you once shelved. But this time, it's different. No one is blocking the flow. No one is feeding doubt into your decisions. No one is competing with your success. You are in spiritual alignment, and now destiny can move at its intended speed. What once felt uphill now feels divinely designed. You'll start hearing confirmations everywhere. Things you prayed for in silence begin to echo in conversations, sermons, even strangers' words. That's not coincidence, it's calibration. Heaven is realigning the path that was once choked by emotional distractions and false loyalty. Archangel Michael didn't just clear the enemy out. He cleared the static that distorted your connection to divine guidance. That clarity is now becoming direction. And direction backed by heaven creates momentum that no man, no demon, no delay can stop. You'll notice time behaving differently. What took years before now unfolds in weeks. Ideas become strategy. Strategy becomes manifestation. Opportunities are no longer blocked. You're not hustling for doors to open. Doors are seeking you out. This is the pace of divine recompense. You suffered long. You obeyed deeply. Now, heaven is making up for the years eaten by emotional leeches and spiritual dead weight. Restoration is not just coming, it's chasing you. Type I am walking in divine timing to get the blessing 3939. And in this acceleration, you must remember, protect what is growing. You are not just rising, you are rebuilding. Rebuilding dreams, faith, self-worth, relationships, and a legacy free from the influence of hidden enemies. This speed is holy, but it must be stewarded. Don't let excitement make you careless. Stay prayerful. Stay grounded. Don't overshare your breakthroughs. Everyone who claps is not pure. Guard the gates of your destiny like a treasure, because it is. Archangel Michael is still near, not with warnings, but with guidance. He walks beside you in this season as the guardian of your next level. His presence will feel less like thunder and more like strategy, nudging you toward the right rooms, whispering discernment when opportunities arise. You're no longer in a battlefield, you're in a building phase. And Michael is not just a warrior, he's a master architect of divine movement. Trust his instructions, even the quiet ones. Top I am divinely led to get the blessing 2727. This season will require you to leave some people behind again, not because they are evil, but because they are not aligned. You'll feel it when their energy slows your flow, when their presence clouds your clarity, when their opinion interrupts your knowing. Pay attention. The enemy won't always return in familiar faces. Sometimes it sneaks in through emotional guilt, spiritual laziness, or false obligation. Don't let your compassion become a doorway for compromise. Remember, the enemy you removed was not just a person. It was a pattern of shrinking, bleeding, tolerating, and doubting. And now that you've broken it, You must stay free. You don't owe access to anyone just because they were there in the past. Bless them. Love them. But don't reopen what heaven has sealed. This is your time, your movement, your rise. And every distraction, no matter how sentimental, must bow to the urgency of your destiny. Type I am moving forward fully to get the blessing 5454. The one they tried to keep small is now becoming undeniable. You are walking into rooms your hidden enemy never wanted you to find. You're speaking with a boldness they once mocked. You're creating with a clarity they silently envied. But the truth is, they saw it in you before you saw it in yourself. That's why they clung so tightly. Not because they love you purely, but because they feared who you'd become if you ever broke free. And now, you've broken free. And you are becoming the one they didn't expect to rise. It's not about revenge. It's about realization. You realize now that they weren't confused. They were calculated. They knew how to downplay your worth without sounding cruel. How to question your plans without sounding discouraging. How to joke about your purpose just enough to sow a seed of doubt. And for a while, it worked. You dimmed yourself. Not out of weakness, but out of misplaced loyalty. You chose peace over truth. But Michael came to remind you, peace without truth is bondage. And now, you walk in truth. Every step you take now reveals another layer of your calling. What you thought was just talent is now becoming anointed skill. What you thought were just ideas are now turning into blueprints. You're dreaming again, but this time it's different. Your dreams have roots. They're not floating wishes. They're visions from a cleared spirit, ready for manifestation. That's what happens when the fog of hidden sabotage lifts. Destiny comes into focus. And when destiny comes into focus, you become unstoppable. Type I am becoming unstoppable to get the blessing 7874. This is the season where you'll shock those who thought you'd stay in survival mode forever. You're not just healing, you're building. You're not just surviving, you're strategizing. They expected silence after separation. But they didn't realize that what you lost in company, you gained in clarity. And clarity, when paired with alignment, becomes dangerous to every atmosphere that once subdued you. That's why the enemy fought so hard to keep you surrounded by confusion, because confusion delays creation. But now the creator in you is alive again. The writer, the visionary, the speaker, the healer, the builder, the parent, the leader, the child of God with fire in their belly and wisdom in their voice. That's who you are now. And it's not arrogance, it's remembrance. You've remembered what they tried to make you forget, that you were born for more. And now you're not just believing it, you're walking in it. Every step you take confirms what heaven knew all along. Type I'm stepping into power to get the blessing 3131. There will be whispers. People trying to figure out how you rose so quickly. How you're doing so much with so little. How you're glowing even after the cuts. Let them wonder. Because your testimony is not for spectacle, it's for impact. You're not rising to oppress. You're rising to fulfill prophecy. To carry light where darkness thought it had dominion. To break generational curses without shouting. To birth legacy in silence. Your strength will be felt more than it's seen. And your presence will begin to shift rooms, not because you demand attention, but because you command atmosphere. You are no longer who they thought you were. You're not timid, not fragile, not confused. You are not their puppet, their therapist, or their emotional cushion. You are a warrior, a mouthpiece, a vessel, and heaven has branded you with resilience no enemy can decode. You carry evidence now, evidence that walking away was not weakness, but wisdom, and that wisdom has made you sharp. Focus. Hovered. Prepared. Type I am the evidence to get the blessing 1119. As you rise, purpose starts to pull at you again, not as a distant idea, but as a living force calling your name. The very dreams you shelved to keep others comfortable have returned, but this time, they come with fire. This time, they come with permission. Archangel Michael didn't just deliver you from sabotage, he delivered your purpose back into your hands. What once seemed like a fantasy now feels urgent, clear, heavy with responsibility, but light with joy. Because this time, you're pursuing your destiny without spiritual resistance chained to your ankles. The hidden enemy saw your purpose before you fully embraced it. That's why they stayed so close. Their presence wasn't random. It was strategic. The closer they stayed, the more access they had to interrupt, distract, and delay. But now, that access is cut. And with it, the interference is gone. Your purpose can now grow in peace. It can take root in an environment of clarity, love, and protection. Your creativity no longer has to filter through the noise of insecurity. Your plans no longer have to pause for someone else's comfort. And now, with Michael walking beside you and the veil torn, your calling has become personal. It's no longer just a dream. It's a mandate, a divine assignment. You can feel it in your bones. The message you carry, the light you release, the healing you offer, the wisdom you've earned. All of it has multiplied because of the pain you endured. You didn't just survive betrayal, you transformed in it. And now, your story is oil. Your scars are weapons, and your steps are ordered. Type I am walking in purpose to get the blessing 6060. This time, you're not building blindly. You know who you are. You know what to avoid. You know how sabotage smells. And you will never again trade peace for proximity. You'll never again delay destiny to make someone else feel big. That old version of you, the one who was always shrinking, always second-guessing, always seeking external validation, is gone. Buried on the battlefield where Michael helped you win. And now, you build with confidence. You rise with direction. And you don't explain your assignments to those who haven't earned the right to witness them. Your days of explaining yourself are over. This is the season of demonstration. People won't believe because you talk. They'll believe because of what manifests around you. And it will be undeniable. Favor will become your language. Success will become your silence. You'll build things you once only dreamed of. Doors will open that others said were sealed. And it won't be because of who you know. It will be because of who heaven sent. This is what happens when the circle is cleared and the spirit is aligned. Type I am the vessel of vision to get the blessing 9797. Don't be surprised if you feel moments of fear. That's normal. Stepping into big purpose after surviving deep betrayal is like walking into sunlight after years in a storm. Your eyes need time to adjust. But don't confuse new light with danger. This is your season. You're not late. You're not broken. You're recovered. And heaven has reserved this hour just for you. Everything that seemed to fall apart was actually falling into divine timing. Remember, your purpose was never destroyed. It was delayed by design until you had the strength to protect it. Michael didn't bring you this far for it to be wasted. He brought you to this threshold so you could own it. Stand tall. Write the book. Launch the project. Speak the message. Start the movement. Mentor the next generation. Build the vision. This is your release. You're no longer surviving the shadows. You're leading in the light. And that, beloved, is why the war was so fierce. Type I am fulfilling my assignment to get the blessing 3434. You walked through the fire. You stood in the silence. You've obeyed the unthinkable, cutting ties with someone who once felt irreplaceable. But in that holy severing, you found something greater, yourself. You listened to Archangel Michael's command. You faced the hidden enemy. And in doing so, you didn't just break a connection, you broke a curse. July 8th will forever mark the day you stopped entertaining what heaven exposed, the day your peace returned, the day your destiny unlocked. Now you walk in a new authority, not because you fought with fists, but because you surrendered to truth. You didn't need to expose anyone publicly. Michael did it spiritually. You didn't need to retaliate. Heaven responded on your behalf. And that's what made your obedience so powerful. Quiet, precise, complete. The world may never know the full weight of what you walked away from, but heaven does. And because of that, reward is chasing you now. Restoration is echoing through your lineage. Blessings are appearing without struggle. From this moment forward, your discernment will remain sharp, your boundaries firm, your circle sacred. No more overextending, no more explaining, no more betraying yourself to keep peace with someone who never had it in their heart for you. The light within you is too rare, too radiant, too reverent to be dulled by deception again. You are now a guardian of your own soul, a steward of divine truth, and that makes you dangerous in the best way. So take a breath. Exhale the past. Inhale the promise. Because what's ahead of you is not a rebuilding, it's a divine beginning. Michael is still beside you, not with a sword this time, but with wings wide open, shielding your next steps, guiding your every move. You are covered. You are chosen. And you are free. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am sealed in truth to get the blessing 8888.